This is going to be a long-term update review kind of sort of thing on my Rolex Batman. So the Rolex Batman, as you can see, this is kind of like the previous model with the Oyster bracelet. They do make this in the Jubilee bracelet, but I have it on the Oyster bracelet. I bought this in, I think, 2017. I'm in Canada, so the pricing is going to be slightly off if you guys are trying to compare how much it is in the US. I do work in the US, so I get paid in US currency. So when I purchase watches in Canada, the exchange rate is very favorable to me because items in Canada it seems to be cheaper if you're using US currency. An example I'm going to give is when I purchased this Rolex Batman at the Rolex dealership, the retail price was $10,500 straight from Rolex Canadian, $10,500 Canadian. When I converted it to US, it became, I think, $7,800, 7,800 USD. But if you were to actually be in the US to purchase this Rolex, the conversion rate for some reason does not add up. It's going to be much higher than the 7,800 I just paid for it. So you would think that the currency exchange rate works both ways and kind of evens out. It doesn't. So this is pretty much the way I buy all my watches. I purchase them in Canada but with US currency because the exchange rate is just that much more favorable if you have US currency. And I bought Grand Seikos before, I buy Omegas, lots of Rolex and APs, and when it's converted, I definitely get a way better deal, killer deal, buying in Canada. So for those of you that are wanting to buy a Rolex or some other high-end item, it's probably a good choice to visit Canada, even if you're from a different country. I do know a lot of people that fly in to purchase it, and then I think they just wear it back. But remember, if you're wearing your watch back, don't keep the box of papers in your luggage or suitcase. You can ship it back to you wherever you are. So before I purchased this watch, when I was buying this watch, I was on the fence. This wasn't even the first choice that I had. Not first choice as in like high end or more expensive, but when I wanted a big boy Rolex. I've had those vintage Datejust for a while. Those usually run around like $1,500 to $2,000 for the vintage Datejusts, and I wanted a big boy Rolex, and I wanted to buy it new. I wanted to basically get a modern one because all the other ones I've had were pretty old because that's all I could afford at the time. Wasn't balling. So the first one that I saw that I wanted was the Submariner, and it was actually the 5-digit one because it was cheaper. I was still broke. The 5-digit Submariner that I saw secondhand used, they were about $3,500, I think, at the time. This was in 2017. That's used. Obviously, they don't make the 5 digits anymore. So then I started looking at the 6 digits with the better bracelets. There's bigger size. Actually, no, I think size is the same, but I think it's thicker. The new modern ones are thicker than the 5 digits, and the bracelets are definitely much better. So the modern Rolex that I originally was gonna get was the Rolex Air King, the revised and new one that came out. I think it came out in 2015. I don't really remember. The Air King, for those of you that don't know, is the beginner model, kind of like the Oyster Perpetual 39. But I think they have the OP41 now. I think they just released it. But yeah, so it was the Oyster Perpetual, it's the Air King that I originally wanted to buy. And then I saw the Batman and I saw the Hulk. And I had to make a decision, like which one do I think would be the staple watch in my collection that I would not sell. I came to the conclusion that the Air King, even though I really, really liked it and I still do, I felt like I wouldn't be keeping it as a forever watch. So hence, I decided on the Batman. For price comparison's sake, I believe the Rolex Air King was around $5,000 USD. And this Batman, as I mentioned earlier, it ran me about $7,800, so it was around like almost $3,000 difference. But for that $3,000, I felt like it was really worth it. And I'm sure, as most of you already know, the value for the Batman has shot up tremendously. You can no longer get these for $7,000 or $8,000. I think they are around $15,000 US for a Batman. Correct me if I'm wrong. It goes up, it goes down. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but it's definitely not $8,000 anymore. I absolutely love this watch. It's a big conversation starter for just in my everyday life. I work in a field where everybody's got nice shit. They got expensive cars, expensive watches, but not a lot of people have the Batman because it is so sought after and hard to get. And when they see the blue on my wrist, they know it's a Batman, and they'll come talk to me. And you kind of build a rapport with people that way. And as you know, communication with people, especially if you're in the business world, is very important. It's not what you know, it is who you know. So everybody you see, like, you want to try to slap hands with them, you want to be friendly, it's kind of like you can just meet somebody, but you want to make them feel like you guys are old friends that, just got reacquainted. That's how it works in the business world. And this Rolex Batman definitely has helped me. I've launched multiple different companies as a result of just being in the Rolex club on Facebook and in the groups, Instagram. And I go to watch meetings, like meetouts, I mean. Like, we talk about watches and all that boring shit. Well, it ain't boring to us watch people, but yeah. I meet a lot of people. I even started a strap company. We sell straps and stuff like that for watches. And the result was because of, watches. So to me, this watch definitely has made its money back from the $7,800 that I spent on it. It for sure is an investment. For people that always say things are not, like, materialistic things are not investments because they depreciate, I beg to differ. You're not trying to look at the short term of it going down in value. It can be residual value or residual investment. That's what it is, because the item isn't directly going up in value, although this has. So I mean, that might be a bad example, since the Rolex Batman and the Hulk has shot up tremendously in price. But for normal watches, normal people don't like to think about cars and watches as an investment, but it definitely is. It's an indirect investment. It's an investment in yourself. And this watch and my cars have made me a lot of money. A lot of people like to criticize how I spend my money or how I do things in life in general. My answer is, well, first of all, most of the time I don't pay them no mind because they broke as shit usually. Like, if you think I'm going to be taking advice from a broke ass bitch, like, you got something else going on in your head. But, like, if you change one thing, you change everything. You know what I'm saying? So I love luxury items like watches and cars, and yeah. So I've had this for over 3 years now, 2017, or maybe just about 3 years. I think I got it in September. I bought it with my Amex card, which I also got points on. And yeah, this is kind of what, like, the bracelet and whatnot shows a little bit of wear, It's a watch and it's polished, so it's going to show scratches. I'm going to try to put it in an unflattering angle so you can see the scratches. But overall, I love this watch, although I think the easy link on the bracelet, like the part that allows it to get a little bit bigger, is kind of useless because it's either too big or too small. I much prefer the glide lock on the Rolex Submariner or the adjustments they use on the Hamilton Frogman. So yeah, that's about it on the Rolex Batman. A lot of people ask me like, do I regret buying the Batman? Should I have gotten something else? I don't fucking think so. I love the hell out of this thing. I wear the shit out of it. And I don't really have beater watches per se. Like a lot of people store shit away and then they wear like a cheaper watch. But bitch, I'm rocking APs and shit. So, 10 grand ain't nothing. That's about it. Peace.